Coach, you guys have done a great job with the bat so far this year. The last couple of days, not so much. What did you see out there?
Well, the first game yesterday, I thought we did a really good job against a good arm. We got off to a slow start yesterday and just never really recovered from an emotional standpoint. We played like a really immature team that didn't really know how to respond once we got kind of hit in the mouth, and it showed throughout the course of the game. We continue to give ourselves opportunities, but we did things that poor offenses do, where you get in between timing, you expand the zone, you don't work, keep balls low the other way late with 2 strikes, and we took hanging off speed pitches and 1-0 counts, and when you do those things, you just don't give yourself a chance to consistently put a bats together or string innings together. And when you do have a little bit, you're constantly with a couple of guys on base and 2 outs, where you really run into roadblocks there. With you got 2 guys on and 2 outs, you did it a bunch. Where we didn't do it, we didn't put an entire inning together, and when you do that, there's just not enough outs to be able to score multiple times.
We only have one day to turn around for it, heading down to Evansville on Tuesday. So what happens tomorrow to try to move on from this series?
Well, by rule, tomorrow's an off day, so it's going to be a little bit on their own. I told the guys we're the same team that we were the first 3 weeks, and we're also the same team that we were today. And so you've got the decision to make to follow the roadmap to success or not. And so every team goes through moments in a season. When things are going really well, you think, hey, it's going to go like this forever, but they don't. Right? Every team goes through their ebbs and their flows. The important thing is to remember that you're still the good team that you have been for a long period of time, and you don't have to be the team that you that for less than 24 hours where you weren't very good. So we're gonna have to put it behind us and go back to work. Now also the thing is, from an offensive standpoint, now there's a little bit of a body of work, and so you have scouting reports, and you play a team like that that's a really good team that can really pitch and they execute. They're gonna find your weakness and they're gonna keep hitting it. And they're going to force you to adjust. So we're going to have to go back and find a little bit of that edge again, and be able to play confidently. And when somebody exposes your flaws, you can't just say, well, I guess I'm not good anymore. You just have to go fix those things and improve yourself.
Going into this weekend, San Diego has a lot of good hitters, a couple guys over 400 coming in. What was the struggle going against a lineup like that this week?
Well, they're incredibly simple and dutiful, and so they're not trying to hit the ball to the ballpark. They're trying to hit the ball where it's pitched. I know that sounds super cliche, but when you're very simple, then you don't try to overpower the ball or overpower the game. They're kind of their small ball tactics. A few hit and runs today, but that didn't really damage us. It was their commitment to just being able to play. Head high and through the backside of the field and not exposing any real holes, right? And we didn't pitch well, right? We didn't pitch well at all. We didn't execute pitches. We didn't execute 2-strike breaking balls. We didn't look at our fastball. We were changing arm slots. We just did a lot of really silly things that young teams that kind of have an emotional moment do, and those things showed themselves.
It's still so early on in the season, so after a loss like this, what do you tell your team to, keep up their energy and let them know, yes, this isn't who we are, this loss doesn't define us, but it still is a learning experience. So how do you keep your team's head up going from this?
Well, I've always been very honest with them. When they're good, I tell them that was good, and when we struggle, I tell them the truth on those things. And I think that honesty carries it way forward in a moment like this, when you can have a very direct conversation about what allowed us to have success are the same things that will allow us to have success. That baseball hasn't changed in 100 and some odd years, and it's not going to change dramatically. So the same things that we did before, we have to do again. And when you don't do those things, you get punished. And then when you struggle and then you become emotional, then it really compounds the problem, right? You get emotional and you try to make a play that you can't make, or you deviate even more from that. And you can see some of those things in the base running mistakes. Like, those are things that you work on, you practice those things, but you get emotional in a moment and you kind of lose track of yourself, and before you know it, you make a really silly play happen. So just having an honest conversation and being able to get back to the things that we've done. And like I told them, like I've told you guys before, and if we started the season 0-6 or 6-0, I always tell the guys that too, that it doesn't matter as to the journey. So it's a marathon, and we'll just continue to go back to work and do those things. But we'll get back to it, and we'll be fine. You have these moments, and then as a coach, your job is to make sure that they're teaching moments and that they're opportunities to learn, and they don't define who you are as a person. And then you're able to recover from those things.
On a much lighter note,
Thank you.
The Sunday Reds were gone today. I know you're not a fan of those generally. Was there a backstory there?
You figured that out, huh?
Yes, I know that you said like last year something like you saw them in your locker and you thought they were kind of like just like a joke or something like that. There was a story you wanted to.
Well, the issue is I'm built like a Lego. I'm built like a sack of potatoes, and I didn't think that red made me look good. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of the all red, and I know they're popular and those things. And I'm not I'm in no way like a fashion aficionado. My wife dresses me half the time, but I just wasn't as big of a fan. And I thought the creams are really nice, and so we went with those. But I don't know, after we play today, maybe I should bring the Reds back and bring back a little bit of positive energy to the group. So.
It's potentially, did you come into the season? It's obviously not a big deal. Did you come enter the season just not planning to have them ever? Just kind
the
of
moment the season was over. Last year.
Okay.
The second the season was over. Feel my honest. I'm always honest. The second the season was over. To be quite frank with you.
How many different uniform combinations does the team have?
I have no idea. I don't. They put it in my locker, and I wear what they. I didn't even know we had Reds, all Reds, until I went in my locker the first day we wore them. So I don't look at that stuff much. Denton does those things, and when we order new uniforms, Denton designs them and orders them and says, "Are these okay?" And I'm like, "Sounds good, as long as the boys like them." And we're following the protocol, then I'm okay with it because it's the Indian, not the arrow, right? So as long as they like them, that's what matters.
Coach.
Thanks,
guys.